So Vince Baskerville is my name. And as she said, so I'm actually Lithium Technologies. I actually just started with them about 4 months ago, doing that, really digging that. TripLingo, my last company, I'm currently still a part of, but I was a co-founder and also a product manager for them as well. And then, as she said, run a UX group, very active. There's another company called Informed in Atlanta that I'm an advisor for. So very active in this whole ambiguous term product management. Like, what does that even mean? And then I take it up even one notch higher as far as user experience. Like, I combine these two things that no one knows what the hell we're even talking about, and just convince people to give me money. And so, and that actually comes to what this talk, right? I love giving this talk because a lot of UXers, it's like this powwow of like, yes, you feel pain. I go through this all the time. Whether you're in a startup or you're in a larger organization, at Lithium, it's an amazing company, great company. For whatever reason, they still consider themselves a startup. They're not. But they really understand the culture of user experience and understand the culture of Scrum product management. I love that. But they have one UXer. And it's about a 250-person company. Each product team, there's 6 product teams, and each of us are supposed to be, if we don't have Kelly, our UXer, then us as a product manager are supposed to fill that role. I'm used to that, I get that, some of the other PMs aren't. So that's where the challenge comes from. So quick kind of survey with the group, what is it? One of the things I loved about this is that this isn't just product management, right? It's an umbrella of so much. What does that mean? So what are your titles or whatever that even means in the group? I mean, as far as product management specifically, how many are labeled as that? So we got a few. Do we have explicit user experience designers, information architects, researchers? All right, we got a few. Developers. We got a handful. Designers in the house. Explicit, just designers. Those who didn't raise their hand, you want to shout? Interactive? Like, what do we got here?
Product marketing.
Nah, we don't care about you. I'm joking. All right, anything else? What else we got in the house?
Business development.
Oh, we especially don't care about that. Oh my goodness. You guys, man, my last CEO, this guy, every time he'll come back from a travel conference, talk about being the challenges of being a UXer of one. This guy, we would go through all this iteration, ideation, all this beautiful stuff, work through about 6 months, loosely promising to clients what we're going to deliver. Q3, biz dev guy who comes back, I just promised Cisco this. We have to totally change what we just did. And so I'm just picking on you guys. But that's the real life challenge, right? Of what do you do in that situation, especially if you're one person. So whether if you're actually the UXer, whether if you're the PM, like we said, someone is doing this role, right? Someone's doing something. And I actually want to start with a story of what happened to me of how I failed. One of the things that I really love talking about success stories that I had, and especially when I'm talking to either clients or if I'm going to work somewhere else, it's like, oh man, I'm so awesome, I know everything. And one of the cool things is that we don't, especially in UX, right? UX is research based. I loathe the idea when people say like, this is right because I know this. What are you talking about? You don't know. It's research based. You have to test it, test. But anyway, so continue the story. So I was living in Florida for a while. Morehouse College found me in Florida. What I was doing down there with a couple startups really pitched me to move to Atlanta and do something new with them. They were really kind of behind this whole digital trend. I'm not sure if anyone knows, if many people know about Morehouse College. It's okay, cool. We got a few. So it's a historically black college in Atlanta. Martin Luther King went there and everything like that. So a lot of historical background, but not really current in technology. And so I got there really excited. They were excited to bring me on. Everyone amped and really pumped, and so they were just ready for this new digital revolution. I was the only UXer on the team, and so I was the UXer, the digital product person, it's just the everything. I had 20 titles. I was reporting directly to our VP of Institutional Advancement, also working directly with the Director of Communications. So I had a lot of money, a lot of tools at my hand. I thought I had everything. What else could I need? But then something strange started happening. As I started working, I was going through different project ideas, like this weird loop of people just shooting me down. I was like, this is what you brought me here for. You know, we're coming up with different ideas and designing concepts, going through ideas, iterations. The politics of being a UXer of one. Our media relations specialist was not happy to be excluded. And that's part of being a UXer of one, the politics. Even if you're in a startup, if you're in a startup of 4 or 5 people, you may be the designer, you may be the UX designer, you may be, whatever the case, whatever your title is, or the UXer itself, but the biz dev person, the marketing stuff like that, you're gonna have to deal with politics as well. It's not just about getting customer validation, getting customer feedback, understanding the user experience, things like that. We have to actually do all these different challenges. So that's my quick, I mean, that's nothing directly related as far as product concepts, but all the products I was trying to build never really reached the customers because we had internal issues. And it was some of the same thing that happened with a couple other startups that I had before as well. We would argue internally about whether a button should go here, what the screen should look like. Right now, we're dealing with some things right now with Informed, as far as one of our designers totally came out of left field, and you know, we worked on the skeleton and the architecture of how it's supposed to look. Come back with designs. I didn't like that last minute, and totally changed it. You know, he felt out the loop about the designing process, and you know, even though we went through the process, the research, the ideation, everything of going through the experience of how it flows, it was all validated. You know, he wasn't a part of that initial conversation. It's a startup, so we didn't have a designer in the beginning, and we have to deal with that. And that's what people don't think about it. You just think that, and I'm going to come here, rescue the night and shining harder, and go through. So that's the story I want to talk about, and just say that, you know, we're not alone. Regardless of your stage, we're all going through the exact same problems. It's never going to get easier. I'm sure that's what not a lot of people want to hear that, but it never is. Regardless, if you're thinking that, oh, we're only a 3-person startup right now, and some of my teammates don't understand what I'm talking about, right? No, if you get a room full of 15 UX designers in the same room, they're all going to bitch and complain about the same thing. So it doesn't matter who you're with or what's going on. So the good news is, the good thing is that we can learn from all these different things. So we can learn and we could bring up some strategies. There's a great book, I didn't write it, I talked about it in Cindy's podcast show a couple weeks ago, Undercover User Experience Design. Have anyone read that? Read the book? One person in the back? It is seriously an amazing, amazing, amazing book. Even if you're not a UXer, I cannot express like how awesome, like these guys, it's co-written by two authors. It's an amazing, amazing book, jam-packed, quick read. I think people are now referencing how quick a read is within a flight. You know, it's like a 4-hour flight, you can get done with the whole thing. But it talks about how to deal with some of these challenges, not the actual process of what to do with user experience. That's not my talk tonight. You're going to get a bunch of great stuff. Jonathan's talking about ideation and creation. We're talking about sketching and prototyping. Heavily believe in low fidelity sketches versus high fidelity, things like that. So that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about actually being sold. Like actually, you want your work to go from what you're doing and actually see people. And that's what this book is about. It teaches you how to actually talk to PMs, how to actually talk and collaborate with product owners and things of that nature. And what it actually means as far as communication and interpretation between the two. And then a couple, and then going back with some of the other strengths. So that's the first thing, read that book. It's an amazing, amazing book. The second thing I was going to say is some of the strengths as far as what we can do is go outside. How many people are actually working on explicitly their startups in here? All right, so people not in startups. So it's a mix. So we got it's more tipped on startups, but not entirely. Those of you in startups, how many of you are actually, like when you're designing things like that, you actually go outside, even if it's a new feature, you don't want too much people, how many people actually go somewhere else and collaborate with other, other people, whether you're bringing a whiteboard or bringing sketches, go outside your actual team. We got a few. Those who don't, any reasons why not? Anyone brave enough? It's coding. Right. So the actual physical presence of escaping. What's that?
Lost your mind.
Oh. Hello? There we go.
Oh, there we go.
There we go, okay. So we got an actual physical separation. Anyone else?
Speed.
Say it again?
Speed.
I like this one. I like this. So you said speed is the reason why not. So I don't want to pick on you or per se about that, but one of the things, that's the biggest thing, right? Because you want to fail fast, you want to learn, you want to get information. But one of the things that can happen though, if you're, is it it's like, it's kind of going in and out. Yeah. There we go. I guess I just hold it like this. Speed is great, but if your team is small, especially for startups, if you're a team of, for instance, for TripLingo, we were a team of, when we started, we were a team of six. One of the things I loved about what we were doing is you can be cooped up, but then there's a place called Hypotamus. It's an awesome, crazy collaboration, free-form workspace. They had tons of whiteboard. We would go there, and it was just to get out of the startup and just start sketching, start coming out, whatever you're doing, rapidly prototype, and then be places where people are. And it's amazing the type of feedback you can get because it's the static feedback, the feedback loop you're going to get from creating the mock-ups, whether you're going to email them to people, interactive mock-ups, emailing them to different people, going through. It's lost in context sometimes. Whereas if you're actually at a cool place where people actually are, you can quickly just, I can just mock some up right here and say, hey, real quick, Adrian, can you come take a look at this real quick? Check this out, boom, boom. Maybe I just want to see, what your initial thoughts on this quick mock-up, quick scenes like that. It's just, I love that. And then you can do that if you're in a larger organization. One of the reasons why I love that as far as the whole strategicness of playing in politics is that you can get more people involved outside of just your immediate team. People love to be involved, right? People love to feel included, whether it's your customers, whether it's the client, whether it's whoever it is that's in your department or company. They just want feedback. They just want to be a part of the discussion of what's actually happening, regardless if you use their input, but you never know. And so the whole idea of that, it's a waste of time, my idea is right, or I need to get this product out ASAP for speed's sakes. It's what we gain from the lesson learned, the unknown is amazing. And one of the great things, Jacob Nielsen, one of the guys who coined the whole user experience term, one of the things I loved he was saying was, don't listen to what customers are saying, right? We're going to talk about prototyping coming up, but don't listen to what they're saying because user-reported claims are unreliable. You want to get them actually seeing what they're doing. You want to see what they're actually doing. It's the same thing as far as internal communications. If people are bitching and complaining about something, it's like, what's the underlying issue, right? If you're PM, if you're PO, or if you're a business dev guy, or whatever the case is, or your other designers are complaining about something, what is the actual issue of what's going on? The same things with consumers. And that's one of the things I love about this, as far as being a UXer. It's so ambiguous. It's so out of the ordinary. Some people don't understand that if you come from research-based UX, they expect you to be a graphic designer. They expect you to be, a icon illustrator, and that's not the case. So it's going to be misinterpretation. And that's pretty much the sum of what this is. I love what's going on here. I love that. Yeah. So I guess I'm gonna wrap it up at that. Any questions, comments, concerns? Based on John, I kind of left some time open. I can go in a little bit more detail if anybody wants me to. We can keep it going. Cool. Awesome. Oh.
Yeah. When you were at Lithium, that was it wasn't a B2B product that you were working on?
Yeah. So I'm at Lithium right now. It is a B2B. It is a B2B product.
Yeah. So as a B2B product, how do you go and talk to customers? When it's a consumer product, I find that it's easier, but when it's B2B, it can be more difficult to get access. So can you talk about how you got customer feedback rapidly? Yeah.
No. So whether it's Lithium or even so Informed is a startup, but it's also Lithium is a little advantageous because they're enterprise, so they're bigger. We have a bit more resources. We can actually go out and do that. So two different type of challenges for startups and enterprise. But so we have someone like USAA, huge client, or Univision, things like that. Some of the things that I like doing is pairing customers up. So someone like Univision, large company, things like that, I try to either find If I can't get them directly, if they're not physically where I am, I live in Atlanta, my team is in Atlanta, and most of our clients aren't there. So I try to get someone the same size, stature, things like that, or I get someone specifically. Me being what I do, I also travel a lot, and I physically go to them, right? But before I go to them, I do some of these stages. I actually go through, like I said, so when you're being a UXer, you come up with different personas, come up with different steps of what you're expecting, and based off that criteria, all right. Based off that criteria, to me, and what I've talked to other people running the user experience group, the company's patterns matter, but the people are people, right? So it doesn't too much matter just because they're a multi-billion-dollar market company, or the case may be. People are people. So in our case of Univision, we have our specific personas of what they are and who their users are. People are people. So we try to find people who their users are if I can't get them right away, and I test against them. It's the same thing with Informed. Informed, one of our first clients was Home Depot. And Home Depot has their specific users. So we created different persona classifications for who their customers were. And I test against people similar to that before I propose it to Home Depot. I try to find those matches. So rather than trying to get Home Depot involved too early, because that can work against you, getting them involved too early, because if they can't see the vision, if you can't sell the vision too early, you match your client's customers. And that's worked greatly for me in all the different projects, and same thing for other different customers, other different people that I know of. Great question.
Sorry, have you ever used innovation games?
Yeah. So a question regarding innovation games. We do that all the time when dealing with execs. The people know, there's a book actually, Innovation Games. People know about the whole process of innovation games, what they're for. So the whole concept is when you're needing to prioritize different features, different tasks, right? And so you have your executives, or you have your clients. If you're a startup, you may not have executives. You might not even have a board of directors yet, right? But your quote unquote executives are your future customers that's coming up. Or it's your CEO, and you're trying to pick, you have the world, what you're trying to do, but you have 6 months to build something. So the whole concept of the innovation games is one of the ones I like the most. There's bingo, then there's Monopoly type of money. So we have 15 different features, quote unquote, it's gonna cost $2,400, here's $1,200. And you physically give these people Monopoly money, and actually go through and say, all right, I want to, and they go through back and forth, I want to pay for this feature, I want to pay for this feature. And it's again part of the whole politics of what's happening, right? This to me is more for product management than less for user experience, but it puts in perspective, if you're a PM, to execs, to let them know exactly what you're doing and how you're prioritizing, so they're not freaking out when you're actually picking a particular product over another one. Right? When you own a product, when you own something, you have to own it full right if your organization or if your startup understands that concept. And so the innovation games, I like it because it lets them know. And I've never really put, for B2B, I've never really put customers through this, just because the customer has the right. We have some pretty, customers have the right to want everything now, right? Like that's a given. They're going to want everything now. So I wouldn't really put them through that. But as far as the execs or people on your team that want to get different features, it's a great way to do that. Same thing with bingo. So, great question. Yes?
One of the things you talked about was sort of getting feedback from people and maybe not taking all of it. What's your process for explaining to those people why you maybe didn't take their feedback?
So yeah, so what the question, amazing, great question as far as UX is concerned, is what's the process that you do if you know you're not going to take someone's feedback, right? You ask them for the feedback, and either you know in your gut it's wrong, or the case may be, but you're not going to take it. Me, what I do, I'm a data-driven person, and so the whole idea, everything is about speed. So you don't want to test every single thing, but there are patterns. Jacob. I think it was Jacob. Jacob, he was great for saying about different patterns. So if you work in education, there are patterns or understood patterns about different structures, hierarchical structures, things like that. So if someone is saying, I want all these buttons to be this certain size, and there is no specific call to action, it's like, that doesn't make any sense, because so if you have some VP saying that, it's like, no, we know this particular pattern doesn't work in education institutes, whereas you can't take any type of research information you have and carry it over to NASCAR and things of that nature. But me personally, like I said, so I'm a data-driven person. I actually just had a discussion, I was in Austin the other day, and we were talking about incorporating Twitter into forums and things of that nature. And it's like, what do? We were in disagreement. We tested. You tested for it. I'm okay with being wrong, you know? I just want information first. And that's how I usually always answer debates like that. I test it, even if it's just like Jonathan was saying, you know, get 5 more different people, build a prototype, a low fidelity prototype, get information to back you up. There's too many hunches going around, different people, my experience this, my experience that. You can't carry over every single experience, and data doesn't lie. And so I always try. But that's one of the, you know, as far as being a UXer, you always, if you want to win more arguments, that's what you have to do. You can't go about it half-hearted. You have to you have to put in more hours because of that. Yes. All right, cool. I think we're out of time. Thank you very much.